A warm and a pleasant morning to you all children. Children, I welcome you for today's learning, and today's learning will be based on the chapter that we have already seen. The name of the lesson is Work, Energy and Power. So in the previous two classes, we have seen about the work and energy. And finally, in today's class, we will be seeing about the power. So in our earlier classes, we have seen the work, the types of work, how to calculate the work, and what is positive work, negative work, and when there is no work done. And in the second class, we had seen the types of energy. And we are concerned in class 9 only about the mechanical energy. So mechanical energy is nothing but the combination of potential as well as kinetic energy. So we had seen about what is potential energy and how to calculate the potential energy. Also, we have seen kinetic energy and also how to calculate the kinetic energy. So all this we have seen in our previous classes. So I request you to go through those two slideshows, one on work and the other on energy, and then if you come back for today's lesson on power, I think you will be linking all the ideas, and so you will be able to understand much better in for today's lesson. So children, we are going to see what is power. So power is a common word that everybody uses, but scientifically power is different. So let us see what is power and how to calculate power and what is the SI unit of power, and finally we will end with solving some of the numerals in this lesson. So this lesson contains lot of formulas, lot of definitions and lot of numerals. So you must try to take a very short note on every topic, and you have to write the definition, formula and SI unit and how to calculate the numerals based on the formulas. So you must make a small note of every topic, which will enhance you to go through the lesson before the day of the examination. That will be a key point for you and that will help you a lot. So children, now we will go into the lessons. So we will pass on to the next slide. Come, let's go. Children, when we discussed about the energy, we have mainly discussed on the kinetic energy and potential energy, which is combinedly called as mechanical energy. Now there are other forms of energy as you have studied in your previous classes. So like electrical energy, mechanical energy, light energy, sound energy, so on and so forth. Now, is there any conversion of energy in an appliance? So that's what we are going to see, energy conversion. So energy from one form can be converted to other form. So here are some examples given for you for energy conversion. An alarm clock. It converts electrical to light and sound energy. Electrical energy is converted into light and sound energy in an alarm clock. If you take a battery, it converts chemical energy into electrical energy. Similarly, when you take a light bulb, it converts electrical energy to thermal and light energy. Thermal in the sense here, if you touch the bulb, it will be hot after glowing for some time. So the electrical energy is partly converted into thermal energy and rest of it is converted into light energy. So when you take a blender, which is known as the mixie, the electrical energy is converted into kinetic or mechanical energy as well as sound energy. When you take up the hair dryer, it converts electrical energy to thermal energy and kinetic or mechanical energy. When you take up the fan, ordinary fan, electrical energy is converted into kinetic or mechanical energy. So we can go on giving many number of examples for energy conversion. So here are some for you to know that energy conversion is taking place in some of the appliances from one form of energy to another form of energy. So generally we can categorize energy can be converted from one form to another form. To continue with the energy conversion, here is a slide which gives you the informations about energy conversion, but excepting the first, every other object is left blank, which is a assignment for you. So what is the energy conversion in those appliances? So in the first one, the blowing dryer, it converts electrical energy to sound, thermal and mechanical energy. So in this way, try to answer for the car moving, the glowing lamp, the ringing bell and a nuclear power plant, which we will discuss about the answers later. After you see the answers, after you write the answers, we'll discuss about it. Okay, children? So try to fill up these gaps and send me as the snapshot, right? Children, we will see about the transformation of energy. What do you mean by transformation of energy? We have seen it in the earlier cases. One form of energy can be converted into other form of energy, and this phenomena is called transformation of energy. When an object is dropped from some height, its potential energy continuously converts into kinetic energy. When an object is thrown upward, its kinetic energy continuously converts into potential energy. Green plants prepare their own food stored in the form of chemical energy by using solar energy through the process of photosynthesis. When we throw a ball, the muscular energy which is stored in our body gets converted into kinetic energy of the ball. The wound spring in the toy car possesses potential energy. As the spring is released, its potential energy changes into kinetic energy, due to which the toy car moves. In a stretched bow, the potential energy is stored. As it is released, the potential energy of the stretched bow gets converted into kinetic energy of arrow, which moves in the forward direction with a large velocity. So children, all these examples are revealing that energy can be converted from one form to another form. So there is a law which is based on this transformation of the energy, and this law is called as the law of conservation of energy. So what does it state? The law of conservation of energy states that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but can be transformed to other forms. So energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but can be transformed to other forms. So this law can be dissected into three statements, and it reveals three things. The first one is energy cannot be created. No energy in this world you can create. Similar way, energy cannot be destroyed. You cannot destroy any energy in this world. So we cannot create energy and we cannot destroy energy. Then what we can do? It can only be converted from one form to another form. So energy can be converted from one form to another form. That is the examples which we have seen in all these classes, so on and so forth. And some more examples are being given here for energy conversion. So for a cyclist, the chemicals in the food give us mechanical energy. Then the sunlight provides light energy for the tree to make its own food, that is chemical energy. Then for a driving car, the chemical gasoline provides energy for the motion of the car. The electrical energy in the plug creates the heat to run the stove. So these are the examples which gives for the energy conversion, and based on the energy conversion we have derived or we have concluded three statements. It cannot be created, it cannot be destroyed, but it can be converted from one form to another form. Children, we have seen about the law of conservation of energy. Now, let us apply the same law in the case of a freely falling ball or freely falling object, and we will prove that the law of conservation of energy in the case of a freely falling ball is conserved. Okay, now we are going to apply the energy conversion here, and we are going to show that the total energy remains the same, right? Now let us take a ball here. Look at the diagram given, which is on the right side. It shows the ball at A, ball at B, and ball at C. Now the ball at A is at a height of h from the ground. So the ball C represents the ball at the ground. Now what we are going to do is we take a ball and we keep it at a height of h above the ground. So this position is represented as ball at A. So since we are having or holding it in our hands, it has no initial velocity. Therefore, at A, u is equal to 0. So at A, the height of the ball is h, and if the ball is dropped down, then it first comes to B, then it goes to C, the ground. Now let us take the ball at B. When the ball is at B, it has both potential energy as well as kinetic energy. So it moves with an velocity, so we keep that velocity as v. Now, what is the height of the ball from the ground when the ball is at B? Now, it is given by h minus s, where s is the distance between A and B. Therefore, the distance between B and C is h minus s. Now, finally, the ball is reaching at C, the ground level, where the final velocity becomes 0. Now, this understanding is very important with the diagram. Now, again I repeat you, we are going to drop a ball from the point A, which is at a height of h. Since we are holding it on our hands, the initial velocity is 0. Therefore, it has only potential energy. Then we are releasing the ball. Before it comes to the ground, we take a position in the middle. So that is the position, we take it as position B. So for the position B, the ball will have both potential energy as well as kinetic energy. Now since the ball is moving, it will have a velocity v. Now when you see the height, then the ball has to travel a distance of h minus s, whereas the ball has traveled a distance of s from the up. Therefore, the distance between A and B is s. Therefore, the distance between B and C is h minus s. Finally, the ball is reaching the ground C, where the final velocity v becomes 0. So for this case, we are going to find out the potential energy and kinetic energy for all the three cases, ball at A, ball at B and ball at C, and we are going to prove that the total energy for all these three positions, it is one and the same, and hence we are going to conclude that the energy is conserved. Now look at the slide. Now prove that the conservation of law holds good in the case of a freely falling body. Let a body of mass m be placed at a height h above the ground, start falling down from rest. In this case, we have to show that the total energy, that is potential energy plus kinetic energy of the body at A, B and C remains constant. That is, the potential energy is completely transformed into kinetic energy. So we are going to see the derivation of this in the next slide. So children, let us now apply the same concept here for the same ball which is at A, B and C, and we are going to prove that the total energy in all these three positions will remain one and the same. Now, what makes the difference between the last slide and this slide is the letter S is changed as X here. So look at the diagram. Ball at A, it has a mass m, and then the ball comes to B. When the ball comes to B, it has traveled a distance x, and when the ball from B, it reaches the position C. So from B to C, it has to travel a distance of h minus x, because h represents the height of the ball when it is at A. So understand the diagram first. Only when you understand the diagram, you can apply the concept in the derivations. Now let us go to the derivations one by one. Now I have divided this derivation into three parts: ball at A, ball at B and ball at C. Now let us take the first position, ball at A. So go to the diagram for imagination. When the ball is at A, it is in our hands. So it doesn't move at all. Therefore, it has no velocity. Therefore, it has the velocity, that is the initial velocity at A will be 0. Therefore, potential energy is equal to mgh, and kinetic energy is given by the formula half mv square. So where the velocity v is 0 here, because the ball has not started moving, final velocity. It has only initial velocity at the point A. That's why it has potential energy, and the kinetic energy becomes 0 because V is equal to 0. When you apply it in half mv square, then since anything multiplied by 0 is 0. Therefore, at A, it has 0 kinetic energy. Okay, therefore, do the total energy. It is the sum of potential energy and kinetic energy. So mgh plus 0, it is mgh. So the right side what is given in the box is for your calculation purpose. It is also given in the slide of the left side. So both you can correlate. So I have given you a better slide for your understanding. Now let us pass on to the position where the ball is at B. Children, remember that when the ball is at B, it has to travel a distance of h minus x. Okay, so it has to travel a distance of h minus x, where it has already crossed a distance of x. This concept has to be borne in your mind. So again, I am repeating you, when the ball is at B, look at the diagram, when the ball is at B, it has to travel a distance of h minus x because it has already traveled a distance of x. Okay, now when the ball is at B, it has both potential energy as well as kinetic energy, as I told you. Now, potential energy is given by the formula mgh, where h represents the distance yet to travel. So what is the distance it is yet to travel? The distance that it has to travel yet is h minus x. Therefore, potential energy becomes mg h minus x. You see to the right side at point B, the potential energy is given by mg into h minus x, because h minus x is the distance it has yet to travel. Okay, children. Now come to kinetic energy. The kinetic energy formula is given by half mv square. In this half mv square, you check the value of v. That is, the value of v becomes, because it remains the same and it has traveled a distance. Okay. So again, I am repeating you, kinetic energy has a formula half mv square. So we, from the second equation of motion, v square minus u square is equal to 2gs. So here it has been replaced. So v square remains as it is, minus u square, because the initial velocity was 0, therefore it is given as 0, substituted as 0, and it is equal to 2gh. That means 2g, yes, s is the displacement. Here it has already traveled a distance x, therefore here it is 2gx. So understand this concept. The formula is v square minus u square is equal to 2gs. So v square remains as it is, and since u becomes 0, u square becomes 0. 2gs, s is the distance which is already traveled. Here when the ball is at B, the distance already traveled is x, therefore 2gx. So therefore v square is equal to 2gx. So substitute in the place of v square 2gx. Therefore half m into 2gx. So when you simplify, the kinetic energy is given by mgx. Now do the total energy. Total energy is given by the sum of potential energy plus kinetic energy. How much is the potential energy? mg into h minus x. Expand it. mg h minus mgx. Now what is the kinetic energy? mgx. So minus mgx plus mgx cancels each other, and what remains is mgh. So when the ball is at B, the total energy is mgh. Children, when you look at it, you will not understand exactly. You have to take a pen and paper and you have to sit and derive it with the help of the clues which I am giving to you. Only then you will get it. Therefore, after you listen to the slides, you just prepare yourself whether you are able to come to the total energy as mgh. So at point B, it has a potential energy mg into h minus x, and it has a kinetic energy mgh. Therefore, when you do the sum, the total energy comes to be mgh. Now let us pass on to the position C, where the ball has just reached the ground. Now, when the ball has just reached the ground, it has already traveled a distance of h, isn't it? When the ball is at C, the ground, it has already traveled a distance of h. And since the ball has come to rest, the initial velocity u becomes 0. Therefore, the potential energy mgh. So, in the potential energy formula mgh, h becomes 0, right? Already it has crossed all the distance. So therefore, it has no more distance to travel. There, h becomes 0 for the point C. Therefore, mg multiplied by 0, it is 0. So potential energy is 0. And kinetic energy is given by the formula half mv square. Apply the second equation of motion. V square minus u square is equal to 2gs. Here h is the total distance traveled. Therefore, v square is equal to 2gh. So again substitute in the formula in the same manner as we did for the previous one, half m into 2gh. So 2 and 2 get cancels. What you get is mgh. So the total energy is 0 plus mgh. So what can we conclude from this? We can conclude that the total energy of the body remains constant at every point. Thus, we conclude the law of conservation of energy holds good in the case of a freely falling body or freely falling ball as we had taken. So again, I tell you, this is a very important derivation. You have to sit, learn, listen as many times as possible, and take a pen and paper, work it out and see whether you get the total energy is one and the same. Okay, children? Now, let us summarize what we have seen so far regarding the transformation of energy. The conversion of energy from one form into another form is called transformation of energy. When energy is converted from one form into another, the total energy always remains the same. Law of conservation of energy. The law of conservation of energy states that energy can only be converted from one form into another. It can neither be created nor destroyed. The total energy before and after the transformation remains the same. Let an object be allowed to fall freely from a height. At the start, the potential energy is more. As it falls down, the potential energy changes into kinetic energy. The potential energy decreases and the kinetic energy increases. When the object is about to reach the ground, the kinetic energy is the largest and the potential energy is the least. But the sum of the potential energy and the kinetic energy is same at all points. So potential energy plus kinetic energy is a constant. The sum of the potential energy and kinetic energy is the total mechanical energy. So this is the nutshell. We are revising the concept of transformation of energy. Now, let us move on to the next topic, power. So, power is defined as the ability to do work. Ability to do work is known as power. The SI unit of power is watts and it is represented by the letter W. So, power is also known as rate of doing work. Rate of doing work refers to time. Therefore, work divided by time is equal to power. So, work done is expressed in terms of joule. Time is expressed in terms of seconds. Therefore, joule per second is kept by the SI unit watts. So power can even be represented by replacing the formula for work done. What is the formula for work done? force into displacement. So power is equal to force into displacement divided by time. And again, power has one more formula, force into velocity. Why? Displacement divided by time, rate of change of displacement. It is nothing but velocity. Therefore, power has the next formula, force into velocity. So, power has three formulas which you have to get in touch with this. This slide also gives you the informations about power. Rate of doing work is known as power, as I have explained to you. So power is the rate of doing work. If W is the work done in time T, then power has a formula, work done divided by time taken, and when we keep it as symbol, P is equal to W by T. The unit of power is watts. 1 watt is the power of an agent which does work at the rate of 1 joule per second. So this is the definition for watts. 1 watt is the power of an agent which does the work at the rate of 1 joule per second. So 1 watt is nothing but 1 joule per second, or 1 watt is equal to 1 joule per second, which is represented as J by S. Since watt is a small unit, it can be expressed in the higher unit as kilowatt. 1 kilowatt is equal to 1000 watts. Now it can be 1 kilowatt can even be represented as 1000 joules per second, because joules per second is nothing but it is watts. Therefore, watts can be expressed in higher units also as kilowatts. Children, let us now move on to solving the numerals. I have taken up the same book exercise as NCERT folders. Now it is the example of 11.1 from your textbooks. Two girls, each of weight 400 newtons. So when the weight is expressed in newtons, you must know that it is mg. Okay, weight is given by the formula mg. Right? Climb up a rope through a height of 8 meters. We name one of the girls as A and the other as B. Girl A takes 20 seconds, whereas B takes 50 seconds to accomplish this task. What is the power expended by each girl? So two girls are there, they are doing some work, and what is the power expended by each girl, it is being asked. Now let us calculate separately for girl A and girl B. Now as I told you, 400 Newton, it is nothing but mg because it is the weight. So displacement, h is given as 8 meter and she takes 20 seconds. So these are the three informations we gather from the questions regarding the girl A. Now apply the formula. Power is equal to work done divided by time taken. Work done here is mgh. So already mg is given as 400 and the height is given as 8 and time is given as 20. So substitute and simplify, you will get 160 watts. In the same manner, you calculate for the girl B. So 400 into 8 by 50, which gives an answer of 64 watts. So power expended by the girl A is 160 watts. Power expended by the girl B is 64 watts. Therefore, the girl A has more power than the girl B. Children, here is another example which is given for you as solved numerals. A boy of mass 50 kilogram runs up a staircase of 45 steps in 9 seconds. If the height of each step is 15 centimeter, find his power. Take G as 10 meter per second square. So in this way, you can calculate your own power for climbing up the steps. Now, what are the informations given in the problem? M is equal to 50 kilograms, and he takes up 45 steps, and the height of each step is 15 centimeter. Therefore, find out the total height of it. 45 into 15 is the total. And since the height is given as centimeter, you have to convert it into meter. So weight of the boy is given as 50 kilogram. Mass of the boy is given as 50 kilograms. So convert it into the weight mg. So 50 into 10, which gives 500 newtons. Height of the states 45 into 15 divided by 100, 6.75 meters. The time taken to climb is 9 seconds. So power is equal to mgh divided by t, 500 into 6.75 by 9. So the answer is 375 watts. Therefore, in this way also you can calculate your own power, and I give it to you as an assignment to calculate your own power and record it in A4 sheet paper. Here is the next numeral, which is very important to calculate the amount of energy consumed in an electrical appliance. An electric bulb of 60 watts is used for 6 hours per day. Calculate the units of energy consumed in 1 day by the bulb. So what is given here? Power of the bulb is given as 60 watts, and it has to be changed into kilowatts. So divided by 1000, you will get 0.06 kilowatts. The time used is 6 hours. So energy, this is a very important formula for calculating the energy for appliances. Energy is equal to power into time. So PT, where P represents power in kilowatt and T represents time in hours. Therefore, power 0.06 into 6, you get 0.36 kilowatt hour. So 1 kilowatt hour is 1 unit. Therefore, replace the kilowatt hour by unit. So the energy consumed by the bulb is 0.36 units. Children, this type of problem, that is calculating power consumed by the appliances, is very important numeral which is frequently asked in the board examination. So make enough revisions to solve and to understand this type of problems. Children, we come to the end of today's learning process. So we have seen a very important topic, conversion of energy and the law of conversion of energy, and the statement energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, but it can be transformed from one form to another. Then we have shown that the law of conservation of energy holds good for a freely falling object, say for an example of a ball which is dropped from a height. So we have taken up three places, A, B and C, and in all the three cases we have shown that the total energy of the ball remains mgh. Therefore, the energy is conserved. So we have seen that one, and later we had seen about power, the definition of power, and the SI unit of power, the higher unit of power. Then we have extended for solving some of the numerals. Children, this lesson contains many numerals for which formulas are required. So I request you to take an A4 sheet paper. Now here I ask you to write an assignment like what are the physical quantities you have come across so far, and what are their SI units, and what is the formula to calculate it. So 3 columns you have to make: physical quantity, its SI unit, and formula. So this you make it in a A4 sheet paper as an assignment. So in this slide itself I have given you more number of assignments. So I think I have given you 3. One is the transformation of energy in some of the electrical appliances, and secondly, to calculate the total energy for a freely falling ball for all the 3 positions A, B and C, and finally here I am giving you the assignment in A4 sheet paper. And apart from this, all the worked out examples of this lesson has to be copied in your classwork notebook. So this should include both solved numerals and the unsolved numerals which are given at the back of your lesson and in between the lesson also. So in between the lesson and after the lesson, there are a few numerals which are given to you. So you have to solve it and you have to copy it in your notebook. In case if you have any practical difficulty in solving, you can contact me. Okay, children. So that's all for today. Have a good day. We will meet next week the same time. Until then, bye from you, children. Bye.